College football is so back with this weekend slate. It might be the best slate we've seen.
I think it is. It's incredible. It's incredible.
At least
In
a
4
year
weeks.
or two.
Incredible.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the best this season. We have some absolutely monster games to talk about. Let's start with College Game Day, because not only is it College Game Day, it's in Penn State, and it is the whiteout game. They announced this was the whiteout game in the summer, and there's nowhere else they could have gone besides this top 6 matchup, 3 versus 6. Oregon at Penn State. Penn State 3.5-point home favorites. Total 52.5. Ryan, you're a Big Ten guy. Obviously, you're an Ohio State guy. You're the 1 seed there, but these are the 2 and 3.
Yeah, this is who we're going to play in the Big Ten Championship.
When you see a 3.5-point spread, which basically is,
it's a coin flip.
home field advantage here.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
This is a really, really tough game because it's one of those games where everyone looks at like Oregon has looked perfect this year. I mean, they blow every team out by 30. Penn State, on the other hand, they're like tied at halftime and like LR has problems. The defense doesn't look great.
His QBR is terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you see that, but then Penn State goes into this game and I think just waxes them because Oregon hasn't had that test yet. This will be that first test, especially for Dante Moore. And in this environment, it's going to be insane, this first game. Nothing against him. I just think it'll be very tough. I love the under in this game. I don't think either team can score, will be able to score points in this environment. Penn State's going to play a well-coached game where they're going to run the ball a lot and play defense and don't do anything crazy. So I think Penn State covers pretty simply here, but it's more like a 21-10 game. But they're always
So way under.
Yeah, way under. I'm obsessed with the under here, but Penn State comfortably always in the lead.
Yeah. I don't know why they gave Penn State 4 straight home games to start the year. It's pretty weird. 3 home games against nobodies, Nevada, FIU, Villanova, and then a bye week. And then a home game whiteout.
Because they got to go to Ohio State this year.
It's pretty strange. Yeah, I guess so. So the first I looked at it, and I was thinking the same thing as you, Ryan. I was like, all right, they're home. It's Drew Allar. This is Dante Moore's first test. Like, you got to go Penn State here. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? What does Penn State find a way to do in every single big game? Lose the game. And they're 3.5-point favorites. So not that I'm obsessed with Oregon, because I don't think either of these teams have had any tests at all. I mean, Oregon's went on the road at Northwestern, right? And won 34-14, and then home won 41-7 against Oregon State. So, like, no one's had a test in this game yet, but I do think that Oregon is a much more complete team than Penn State. The more I watch Penn State, the less confident I get that the returning talent they have is actually as elite as we thought it was. And I love getting 3.5. So I'm all over Oregon plus the 3.5 here. I think they win the game, but I'm not betting the money line. I think 3.5 is plenty amount of points too. If this is a close game, ends with a field goal, one team's up 2, maybe wins by 1. I think it's almost always inside this spread. I don't see a world Penn State blows out Oregon. So give me Oregon.
Yeah, I am feeling a little bit differently in the sense of I think Penn State having the home field advantage in a whiteout game, as previously mentioned, is a massive factor in this game. And I think, Dante Moore, this is the biggest test of his entire life. And this is something that, rattles seasoned veterans going into this environment. This is for sure going to be a very uphill battle for them. And, this Oregon defense has been very, very good throughout the season. Minus their red zone defense. But besides that, they're very, very solid. I think it's going to be kind of down to a wire, but I can see Penn State just kind of winning it out. Home field advantage, and also just they have an elite defense that I think can slow down a rattled quarterback like Dante Moore is going to be, in my opinion. So I'm taking the Penn State minus 3.5 because I just think they're going to win by a touchdown.
That field's going to be shaking.
Literally,
there's going to be an earthquake recorded.
I believe it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with pieces that everyone's kind of mentioned. I agree with Ryan about the under. I agree with Tyler with Oregon covering the spread. And I agree with Mike about Dante Moore being rattled. The thing is, I don't think Drew Allar and that offense has looked very good. I don't think this Penn State team in general has had a test. Neither has Oregon, but I've seen Dan Lanning go and win big games in the regular season. He did it last year with a transfer quarterback against Ohio State.
And
obviously, they were home.
And Big Ten championship against James Franklin, Penn State.
Yeah, so I've seen Dan Lanning get it done. James Franklin in big spots, it's hard to trust. It's just like the gift that keeps on giving. I don't see this game going crazy because I don't see Oregon going on the road and blowing out Penn State or putting up a ton of points. I think Dante Moore is going to feel it, especially in the first half. I think second half probably they'll settle in. I could see Oregon winning this outright, but like Tyler said, I don't think this really ever gets outside very big of a field goal here. So give me Oregon plus 3.5.
Also, wait, something to note really
Yep.
quick. Speaking of Dan Lanning and his career in big games, against the spread, he has a record of 10-5-1 for regular season ranked games.
That's pretty good.
So
That's
just
pretty
thought I
good.
should throw that
I'll
out.
stay on that side. Next big game. This was the game a lot of SEC people were mad that wasn't college game day because historically, whenever you get Bama at Georgia, college game day is going to be visited.
Automatic.
They're going to be.
Automatic,
They're going to be in
yeah.
Athens. Yep. Georgia 2.5 point home favorites here, so less of a favorite than Penn State was, even though Alabama is not ranked inside the top 10, which is interesting. Totals also 52.5, same thing. Mario, you're an SEC guy. I'm going back to you on this one. How are you feeling about this Bama team? Because people were way off them in the beginning, and then Florida State continues to look good, and they're like, oh, maybe these are just two good teams, actually.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned after when we did our recap that I wouldn't be surprised if this Bama team actually turns it around and starts doing well. I liked what I've seen out of Ty Simpson so far. I think he's a good quarterback. It looks like the offense is starting to kind of understand themselves a bit more, kind of settle into this Kellen DeBoer offense that has a lot of moving parts, a lot of motion, the kind of pro-style offense. The defense is looking better for Alabama as well. I still think Georgia's a better team, so I think Georgia wins. If this was 3.5, I would be obsessed with Alabama. 2.5 is just like, it's close because I've watched Georgia go into Tennessee, put up 1 billion points to hang in a game and get it done. I think on the road,
There's a crazy win,
that's
too.
like a very
that was
impressive
crazy.
win, and
Like
it
0%
kind of showed
chance.
me what Georgia's made out of. Obviously, Tennessee kind of choked that, but still, they would have barely lost.
I mean, threw a
by field
touchdown
goal.
on fourth down, too. It
Yeah.
was, Tennessee did almost all they
But
could.
it kind of showed me that this Georgia offense is a little bit better than I thought. It kind of answered some of my questions going into this preseason. I've seen Alabama. I think they make it a game. I don't think this is a blowout ever. You have to kind of just eliminate that week 1 loss to Florida State. I think Georgia covers, though, but I like the under.
Okay.
Yeah, I am half with you, half not with you. I definitely think Georgia covers here. I think, especially what we saw in that Georgia-Tennessee matchup, it was kind of, in my opinion, a good coaching matchup. This is, again, going to be one of those just coaching head-to-heads where, Kirby Smart there isn't as many uphill factors that he's going to be going against, like going on the road in Tennessee in a tough environment. He instead is going to be at home, bringing, all the crowd behind him. And in my opinion, I think he is leagues and leagues above Kalen DeBoer. And so I think he's going to outclass him almost every step of the way. When we talk about Alabama and, do people have misconceptions of this team, I definitely think week 1 was telling. I think that was kind of their true colors. Since then, they played UL Monroe, which, not even an FBS team, or if they are, they're not. They're not relevant.
They're not good, yeah.
They're just not relevant then. And so, they're expected to walk over them. And then you go Wisconsin, which, in my opinion, the Big Ten is the premier conference in college football because of the top 4 teams in that conference.
Top
But
like
besides
6.
that, I think it's literally cupcake. And I think, it's
So that's the premier conference?
well, I think it's a premier conference because they've won the past 2 national championships and they have, probably the top
No,
2
it was
best.
just interesting. Because I agree. I would agree with you, but
They have
it's
the
just-
most elite teams.
Okay, yeah, maybe I phrased that wrong, but
I don't know,
again,
you were like,
think-
oh, it's 80% cupcake. I'm like, this is your.
It is. It's
Well,
very, it's
Well,
very
yeah,
true.
that's
Very
that's
true.
I
exactly
don't
how
agree
I
with that
feel
at
about
all.
it. And so,
Illinois.
again, when you talk about a team like Wisconsin, who isn't one of those premier teams in the Big Ten, I expect Alabama to be able to walk over them. Obviously, not like a UL Monroe,
think
but
that was
I
an
expect them to walk
insane
over
game.
them regardless. And so, I don't think it was telling any more of like, pretty much what I was trying to say is I think DeBoer had his butt to a fire, tried to run up the score against easy teams. This isn't going to be a possibility for him here. And I like the over because Georgia's going to just run up and, yeah.
Yeah. So I think while I was a little quick on the DeBoer being fired in the season, I still think he gets fired this season. I'm with Mike. UL Monroe and Wisconsin don't impress me. That's nothing. But Ty Simpson looked good. And honestly, he looked fine against Florida State too. Like if you look at the stats for the Florida State game, Ty Simpson threw for 254, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. So like on the road, that's pretty good stats. And then he's been fantastic, obviously, against bad defenses. But one thing that stood out for me, and this has been pretty consistent with Bama, is their run defense is really bad. It's really, really bad. And honestly, Tennessee's defense was supposed to be, maybe even is, still elite. I don't know if you want to say them allowing a team to score 44 in regulation, if you can still even be considered elite after that. But the one thing Georgia did on Tennessee's supposed insane run defense was just run the ball. They ran 55 times for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Bama against Florida State allowed, 49 carries for 230 yards and 4 touchdowns. So very, very similar stats where pretty much Florida State was like, we're going to run the ball every time, you can't stop us. That's pretty much what Georgia did. Georgia also threw for 300 because they had to at the end of that game. But they weren't able to slow down the run. I don't think Bama's going to be able to, and it's in Athens. So I actually don't think this is a really close game, meaning I don't think that Georgia's going to win by 30, but a score that's almost identical to the Florida State game away for Bama makes sense to me. 31-17, I'm a big fan of. So I'm all over Georgia, and I would even alt-spread this because I think these are 2 different caliber teams. I think they jumped too quickly to put Alabama back in that top 15 mix when they really haven't done anything. I mean, the fact that they're 17 and Ole Miss isn't ranked at all when, I know this is not a rankings discussion, but there's clear favoritism here, I think, maybe to bolster up a game like this. But I think it'd be similar if Georgia played, one of the other medium teams in the SEC and kind of be cakewalk.
This is fun. No, I have fun with these games. These are real fun games. 2 things. One, the SEC has lost all defense everywhere. I don't give a shit where it is or what it is. I think last year was really the cutoff, so I'm all over this over. I think it's going to be 1 trillion points either which way. I think the shootouts, there's no defense in this game. 2, I can't go against my SEC's in a blunder take where every team can beat everyone. There's no elite team. There's just a bunch of good teams that could beat each other. This is going to be the start of the Ty Simpson era in this game. I'm predicting that Alabama wins outright. Nothing to do against Georgia. Georgia's going to make the playoffs. They're fine. They're going to be in a really good game. I don't see Bama blowing them out, but I can easily see like 35-31 where you have a
Same
top
as last year.
Yeah, top 3 wide receiver duo in the country right now playing out like Ryan Williams and Bernard. It looked insane. If Ty Simpson slings the rock, I mean, we saw it 2 weeks ago with Tennessee blowing the top off of Georgia, literally every single play with weapons that are all
Brazil, Hail Mary.
I'm saying all of the weapons are worse than Bama's weapons at every position, in my opinion. So, I just don't see how that doesn't reciprocate. And I just think Bama, this is the coming out party of Bama. Maybe not being crazy, but just being back in that talk. So, Bama plus the points, money line, and the over.
Oh, you're the only one on the Bama train here.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, last game, another huge SEC game.
Big
Ole
Mario
Miss
game.
hosting LSU. Mario, this is a big game for you guys. Ole Miss and LSU both, I think, the only 2 teams that are undefeated in SEC play.
Mississippi. Oh, SEC. Oh, no, Mississippi State.
No, sorry. There's been a couple. It's like Missouri, Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, whatever. Never mind. I completely made up that stat. But Ole Miss is 1.5-point home favorites. Total's 54.5. And I just want to throw a side note out there. We're filming this early in the week, so we don't actually know who's officially the starter for Ole Miss. They say if Austin Simmons healthy, he's going to go. But the backup, Chamblees, has been absolutely balling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are calling for him to be the permanent starter, which they might end up doing. So, don't know what's going on at quarterback, but clearly the books think Ole Miss is a slight favorite here. Mario, I'm going back to you here because this is your team. Mm-hmm. How confident do you feel in your Tigers?
I feel good. I don't feel overly confident, though, because Ole Miss, I mean, it's a rivalry game. They always play us tough. It's a home game for them. It's always a tough environment to play there. Weirdly enough, I would feel a lot more confident if Austin Simmons was guaranteed to be starting.
It looks like he's healthy, he's going to start the game. But I don't know how long that lasts if he's not playing well.
Something about I just think we would rattle him, just our pressure, and he doesn't impress me. Chamblees,
he's looked good.
He looks like electric.
Benching him would be wild.
And I don't know. Something like there's just not a lot of tape on him. You know, he's come in and just kind of been a spark ever since he stepped on the field. And I don't know. He's a little bit more of like a X factor wild card. So I just wouldn't know what to expect. Either way, I'm not going into this game overly confident. Our offense except for last week, really hasn't looked good. I know we put up 56 last week, but it's against Southeastern Louisiana.
Big game.
Which, I mean, is probably on par with like Sam Houston State. So not
Right
saying
there.
much. I still like us winning. I would take us plus the points, but yeah, I don't know. This just has a weird kind of feeling to it for sure. It's definitely a game where we're going to have to be in the lead early. I think the longer we keep them in the game, these are the classic games in the past with LSU where we'd be up by like a score and just like 3-and-out, and we just keep them in this game, and then all of a sudden, you know, we give up a touchdown late. Like Florida, you kind of saw a little bit of that. I mean, Lagway was just really generous that day.
Oh my gosh.
Really generous.
Kept giving it back, but those are the kind of games where it's like
They might not win another game, by the way.
well,
Florida might not win.
let's wait until next week.
Whoa.
Oh my.
Whoa.
We'll talk next
We'll
week.
talk
about the
next
game.
week.
Don't
Wow.
worry. We'll talk next
Rude.
week.
Horns down.
No, it might be.
Horns up. Hook 'em.
Go ahead, Mar.
Okay. I think the defense is going to carry us, though. If our offense clicks, I think we blow them out. But I'm not going to rely on that. So going into this, I think defense is going to grind it out for us. I could see like a really close game, like 20-17. We pull it out, something where it's just way too close for my heart rate to be normal. Yeah, that's where I'm feeling right now. But like I said, if Austin Simmons is a starter, I could see something where we maybe get something going. So,
Mike?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Mario in the sense that the LSU offense isn't kind of what we were hoping for preseason. They're not as explosive as we once knew them to be. But on the flip side of that, I think their defense is definitely like, national championship contender-esque level. Very, very elite defense. And when we look at teams like Ole Miss, they're playing Kentucky, Arkansas to within one touchdown, allowing 23 points, 35 points.
Well, Arkansas almost was a Heisman favorite and was undefeated, and the backup quarterback had to play his first game ever in his life.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're winning by about a touchdown or whatever. And again, I think this LSU defense is something that can absolutely halt the Ole Miss offense. And then just, if they can force offense to be on the field for a minimal amount of time, wear down the defense, I think we could start to see LSU get into their rhythm and start clicking offensively. So I'm actually all over LSU here. I think their defense is going to do a great job of rallying and stopping this offense. And so I have LSU plus 2.5, and I also have the under. 1.5 and the under.
Yep. First off, I had a very similar thought as Mike. Let's not pretend Arkansas is a good team, right? They just lost to Memphis. You could say Memphis is fine. You can look at the rest of Arkansas' schedule. This isn't an Arkansas discussion. They might not win a game the rest of the season. Play Notre Dame, Tennessee, A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas, Missouri. They have 2 wins, and those are against Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State. So, I don't think Arkansas is going to be in any conversation. That's not going to be a power win. And they beat Kentucky by 7. And so I think LSU's defense, I'm right with you, Mike, is going to absolutely destroy this Ole Miss team. I know the Grotto is going to be hype, and it's a big home game for them. But honestly, this is a huge game for both these teams. If you look at the rest of both of these teams' schedules, I think it's relatively likely that the winner of this game ends up in the SEC championship. I think it's really, really likely because the winner of this game is going to be jump way up in the top 10. Right? If it's LSU, they're going to be the number 1 ranked SEC team, as they already are. If Ole Miss wins, depends what happens with that Georgia-Bama game. But, there's a world they could end up being the highest ranked SEC team after this week. And then they don't really play anyone. They play, Vandy, A&M, Bama, Oklahoma, which is, for LSU. And then Ole Miss, I think the rest of the season they play, they have a Georgia game in Oklahoma and then a bunch of walks after that. But, yeah, no, so it's you'll have, 1 loss maybe out of those games if they beat LSU, but this is an SEC championship play-in, way too early SEC championship play-in, and I think LSU just walks with it. Ole Miss every year feels like they have very equivalent early season hype, where they're always in that top 10 or close to that top 10 conversation. And we've never seen them actually get the job done with Lane Kiffin. They're always left on the outside looking into the playoffs, whether that's 14 playoffs, SEC championship, or 12-team playoff. They're never getting it done. And I don't think that changes here. I think the quarterback situation actually hurts them a lot, having two quarterbacks that are healthy, because even if you start Austin Simmons, then put in the backup, he's having to then have his first drive be like the third drive of the game. And I don't know. I think there's a world where it can get out of hand pretty quick. And so I love a lot of points in this game and LSU just running it up.
Yeah, I wanted to wait to have this conversation, but it's come to my attention. I think LSU at 4 are kind of frauds. They beat a Clemson team who
Elite
might not make a bowl game this year.
Elite.
It might be a sweat. And they beat a Florida team who actually might not win a game this year. And they barely beat the
Florida
Florida.
has a win.
They might not have another win for the rest of the year. But they barely beat the Florida team at home, which if a 90-yard touchdown wasn't taken back, Florida would have took the lead. It would have been very interesting. But yeah, I think Ole Miss is perfectly fine with whatever quarterback plays. Austin Simmons is very talented. If Trinidad plays, he's playing with house money. He's 23 years old, first season ever being allowed to play college football, and he's a senior, and he's literally just having the time of his life. It's literally a win-win-win. I like Ole Miss here. I just think LSU is not as good as people think, and they keep giving them the leeway of when they beat, because they beat Florida, who everyone just in their mind thinks is somehow talented, but not even remotely good. Then they beat Clemson, who has one win.
It's a great team.
I don't know. I just think that everyone needs to pump the brakes on LSU, and I guarantee you next week we'll be having a Mario, good old-fashioned Brian Kelly look at the camera conversation because of this game.
Wow.
Ryan guarantee.
Wow. Ryan guarantee. Right. So no consensus picks.
No.
Out of the main games.
No, I keep...
We might have some on the cards, though, so let's go ahead and dive into all of our picks for the week. Last week on the cards, we actually had a pretty good week overall. I was 50%. Mike was 6-4, 60%.
We're banging.
Mario was over 50%, 8-7. And then Ryan's been
not banging.
It's been an uphill climb.
Yeah,
this season so
I'm in
far.
trouble, dude. I'm in real trouble.
Brings you up to 39% on the year. It was that was a tough one.
No way I went up.
Yeah, you were at 41. Oh no, you went down.
Yeah,
you went down
that's
2%.
I went up. You're fading me. I went
No,
up.
it was a little needle. Mike now the only one above 50%.
Bang!
So Mike's
Shit,
51.
Mike.
We're absolutely horrible.
Fade Mike is
dead.
Yeah, we're
but
terrible.
Mario and I are grinding back.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, it's about.
Wait, it's going to be the greatest comeback anyone's ever seen. Just wait.
Kim Kardashian.
It'll be better than Kim Kardashian.
Better than Kim Kardashian.
Ray J will
comeback.
wish he was me.
Wow.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the cards. All the picks for this week.
Mr. Mario.
Okie dokie. Starting off the card as we do every week. Georgia Tech minus 13.5 against Wake Forest.
So sharp.
Always. Games we already talked about. Oregon plus 3.5 against Penn State. Georgia minus 2.5 against Alabama. And I got the under and the LSU Ole Miss at 54.5.
Wow, no LSU on the card.
I haven't bet one LSU spread.
That's fair.
That's why they're 4-0.
Keep it riding. Yeah.
I dabble in the over.
I put Clemson every week, and they're 1-3. So
yeah. Fair. Games we haven't talked about. FSU, that stands for Florida State University, minus 6.5 against Virginia. Arizona State, shout out Sam Levitt, shout out Jordan Tyson, minus 2.5 against TCU. Houston, minus 12.5 against Oregon State. Oregon State sucks. North Texas, absolute wagon, minus 12.5 against South Alabama. And North Texas, South Alabama,
that's my team.
over 64.5. San Diego State, minus 2.5 against NIU. Air Force, shout out Kyle.
Shout out Kyle.
Minus 6.5 against Hawaii. Hawaii, no bueno at football.
No.
Arkansas, plus 5.5 against Notre Dame. I'm telling you right now, they might actually outright win this. It's going to be a close game. USC, minus 6.5 against Illinois. Illinois, that was shocking. Yeah, I bet Indiana, but I didn't see 66
Sometimes
points.
you just get belt ass. And
yeah.
You just got to take it.
56-point loss.
That was crazy.
Is insane.
USC, Illinois, over 58.5. Yep. USC might hit that on their own. Vanderbilt, minus 22.5 against Utah State. Utah State, consistently year in, year out, one of the worst college football teams.
One of the best morals we ever had, wasn't it Utah State first half?
Yeah.
Or was it against Utah State? I don't completely
I think
remember.
it was Nevada.
It was
Nevada?
Against Utah State.
Intern Johnson. That'll be bleeped out.
Gotcha.
That'll be shout out Intern Johnson. Indiana, minus 8.5 against Iowa. Seems a little bit of a fishy spot, but after last week,
go Hoosiers.
I have no choice.
90% public handle on that.
Yeah. Texas A&M, minus 6.5 against Auburn. Tennessee, minus 8.5 against Mississippi State. Missouri, minus 44.5 against UMass. And Memphis, minus 13.5 against FAU.
Wow.
Bang.
Sharp.
bang. Mario's banging. Now I'm going to
banging.
bang.
Okay.
Penn State, starting off with the games that we already talked about, by the way. Penn State, the Nittany Lions, -3.5 versus Oregon. We're going to go to Georgia, Alabama, over a 52.5. There's going to be points and then points and then points. And then we're going to go to LSU, go Tigers, go Mario, +1.5. And then the LSU Ole Miss under a 54.5. Because the
Urban
Whit
Slim
He
Weeks.
goes from under.
Well, Whit Weeks, you know.
That was awesome.
Because Whit Weeks.
He's going
He's
under.
now dating Lane Kiffin's daughter. For anyone
And
who hasn't seen that,
Yeah.
they made it official.
We're
this week
inside
on
the
Instagram.
mind of Lane Kiffin and
No,
his
I mean
daughter.
it's gonna go belt
That
to
is
ass.
absurd.
Um,
So is what weeks.
belt to ass.
He's a
So
legend.
next, the games that we haven't talked about: USC, the Trojans, facing Illinois.
Whoa.
Facing?
Whoa.
Illinois
Jesus.
over 58.5. Like Mario said,
Mike
they might
never
get
uses
this-
Trojans.
That'll be blurred out.
They might get this on
Never
their
had
own. Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia for president. -22.5 versus Utah State. Ohio State, go Buckeyes. -8.5 at Washington. This is going to win by
He's over 50%.
a million.
I know.
Indiana, go Hoosiers. Go Kurt Signetti. -8.5 at Iowa.
Is this
because
a sign for Hoosier?
That's
Hoosiers.
Hunger Games.
Oh, I don't know.
Mike's
Hoosiers.
volunteering.
Hoosiers. And then Arizona, Wildcats, that is, +5.5 at Iowa State. Iowa State, you're going down. And then lastly, but not leastly, Memphis. It's like Detroit, but not as many as murders. -13.5 versus FAU.
We're never
Wow.
going to get back on the channel. Like,
Yeah.
it's impossible.
No, it's fine. We're already cooked. We're never
Not
getting
as
back
many
on.
as Detroit as murders.
Yeah. No, it was well said. It was well said.
Yeah.
He's very eloquent.
In murders.
knows how
Nobel
to
Peace
speak.
Prize. All right, here we go. This
No.
is the most picks I've ever given out.
Whoa.
22 picks on this card.
Hey.
Never done that in college. You should
Buckle
be
up,
paying for
ladies.
Yeah, I'm on fire. No, I'm not. I'm under 50. But
I'm
Oregon,
over 50.
Oregon +3.5, Georgia -2.5, LSU +1.5. Then I got Florida State -6.5 at Virginia. Virginia somehow is pretending to be good. I don't know how long they can hold this up for, but
Yeah,
I
every
think,
year they really just.
I think the buck stops here. ASU
the
-2.5 at home against TCU. I like the unranked being favored against a ranked team.
I'm
I
like
always kind of
TCU.
just bet on those games.
Josh
regardless.
Hoover.
Yeah, no, it's just unranked is favored over ranked, regardless of home or away. So I got to go with it. Georgia Tech -13.5 at Wake Forest. Wagon. UCF +5.5 at Kansas State. Why are we still making Kansas State favorites in any game?
They're sharp.
Can someone explain to me why they're ever favorites? This is a hack
Avery
line.
Johnson.
They're going to win outright. Take the money line. North Texas -12.5 at home against South
love
Alabama.
that team.
Best team in the country. Notre Dame -5.5 at Arkansas. Mario's wrong. This is a wagon. Bowling Green +10.5 at Ohio. Absolute cover machines this year.
Machines.
Bowling
They are
Green
machines.
needs to be on
Machines.
everyone's card always. USC -6.5 at Illinois. I almost mortaled this because Illinois sucks. Like last week wasn't a fluke. Their defense is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was confused why they're ranked so high preseason, and they just completely got exposed. They shouldn't be ranked. USC is going to absolutely wax them. Syracuse +5.5 at home against Duke. Even without Angeli, I think they're going to be able to score points. Syracuse always has a top passer in college football, whether it's last year. This year, Angeli was already top 5. And then the backup, they were competing for the starting job preseason. It wasn't announced till the week before the season. So I think this guy will be able to step in and do all right. Vanderbilt -22.5 at home against Utah State. Auburn +6.5 at A&M. They win that game outright. Ohio State -8.5 at Washington. Obsessed with this line, but Ryan told me not to mortal it, so I'm not doing it. Navy -14.5 at home against Rice. UCLA +6.5 at Northwestern. This is a win. This is somehow a win. I don't know why. Their coach just got fired. Their coach just got fired. All the recruits decommitted. They need to do something, right? I think so. Mississippi State +8.5 at home against Tennessee. Also a win. This is my upset pick of the week. Mississippi State, take it on the money line. They are one of the better teams in the SEC. I think they're almost identical to Tennessee.
That statement's never been said.
I think I'm the first one to say it then because they're undefeated, 4-0 right now. They beat Arizona State, who I think is a good team. They were ranked 11 at the time. Somehow they're still getting disrespected. Tennessee, I think, was very overrated. They score a lot of points, but Mississippi State's going to hang with them. Obsessed with this spread. Indiana -8.5 at Iowa. I know this is a bad line. I shouldn't be betting this, but I just have to.
Yeah.
But it's a bad line. Like, this is not going to hit. I should probably take it off my card right now, but I'm not going to do that. Virginia Tech +10.5 at NC State. NC State's horrible. South Carolina minus 6.5 at home against Kentucky. Look, South Carolina is awful as well, but Kentucky sucks too. It's a battle of two of the worst SEC teams. So give me the cover for no reason. And BYU minus 6.5 at Colorado. Coach Prime, people are going to start riding again after Colorado scores a lot of points. BYU is going to go and take their soul.
Oof, I like that. Yeah. I'm a disgrace to this podcast.
Wow.
I'm a disgrace to everything about sports gambling. I've never been bad in college football ever.
This is a first.
This
for
is-
new
I'm-
people
yeah,
watching.
this
I've
is-
never. This just doesn't feel right. Nothing feels right. I don't deserve anything. I also don't deserve to say my picks out loud.
Wow.
So I will not be saying my picks until I go over 50%. You will just see a picture here.
Oh.
I would follow it and bet everything against.
Hit pause.
Yes,
No,
hit
no, I'll play
pause.
the
Watch it.
Jeopardy
It is the
song.
best
I'll
pick
play
on the pod
Jeopardy
right
song.
here. If you follow this and fade it. Until I'm back, I will not be saying a
Wait,
single
so
pick on my
should I
card.
not have the card up while you're talking?
I want the card right now to be up and it just be dead
Us
silent.
talking.
No dead
oh.
silent.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right, there it is.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
figure it out.
Sometimes you gotta make
Wow.
something. You gotta make something happen. Every week we give away money on the podcast.
Every week.
That we do.
Typically it's $500, but Michael has now lost 3 consecutive mortal locks.
I'm a piece
We're in
of
week
shit.
4.
Relegated.
Yeah, it's week 5 of the regular season, and Mike's lost 3 in a row through 4 weeks. So he's now relegated. He's not in the parlay.
He's gotta fight his way
So
back.
now the parlay wins $250, so we're giving that away, which is still a lot of money for subscribing.
money.
Like, comment, subscribe if you're not already. We just hit 2.5K. Shout out to you guys.
We're the best.
But so Mario, me, and Ryan are going to give our picks for the Mortal Parlay. So those are the 3 picks you're riding. And Mike's going to give his 2 because he has to win one to get back in the parlay.
Yep.
So, all right, go ahead. What's our first pick in the parlay?
First pick of the parlay. I'm all over this line. I know both of these teams like the back of my. Yes, I said that, Mike. You always
Bleep that
question it. Know both these teams very well. Notre Dame minus 5.5 versus Arkansas. Absolute must-win game for them. They're better coached. Their defense. This will be the game that they sell or go crazy. I think his name Taylon Green on Arkansas is not as good as people think. Played cakewalk teams. Ole Miss game was a little weird game because backup quarterback happened to be a shootout. Weird. Notre Dame secondary will not let it happen to them. They'll be fine, in my opinion. Notre Dame bounces back. There's no chance Notre Dame loses this game, and they're going to win by more than a touchdown. So, obsessed with this bet.
Wow, I like that. And I love that 5.5 number because that's actually the points that I'm getting on this line. Arizona plus 5.5
So shit.
at Iowa State. Look, undefeated, unranked team inside a touchdown spread on the road against the 11th ranked Iowa State. I mean,
Come on
this
now.
is the wagon of the century.
Outright win.
Arizona, I've said this a couple weeks ago when I immortaled Arizona and they did the job for me. I don't know why I went away from them. They are the team we thought they were going to be last year. Yeah, coming off of 2 years ago, we're like, they're going to be good next year. They were terrible last year with Tet. Nothing was great. Fafita looks back to his old self. Now, Arizona's going to make some stupid mistakes. They're going to let Iowa State hang in there. But at the end of the day, they're going to stay inside this number, and I think they're going to win the game on the road against a big ranked team. They're going to propel themselves into that conversation with Texas Tech for the best team in the Big 12. So all over Arizona State plus 5.5, or Arizona plus 5.5.
And for the last pick, we're going to go up north to Washington. And we're going to take Ohio State. Shout out Ryan.
Wow,
OH.
Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes. Minus 8.5 against Washington.
I love that.
This line, listen, I know Washington has a little quarterback and it's a home game for them. And it could be, a semi-test for Ohio State. But I think this defense is too good. They have the best linebacker duo in the country. Their DBs are insane. Maybe not the pass rush quite as last year. Don't care. They're going to shut down this Washington team. And then offensively, I mean,
They're going to score a billion.
they're going to score.
I'll
a
agree
billion.
with that. They're going to score a billion.
And saying every week is looking better.
Yeah.
I think, this might be a first kind of test for them on the road. Washington, the environment's going to be popping
test.
off. But, they get it done easy.
I like saying Washington's Saints first test. They played Texas week 1, but it wasn't much of a test.
Well, I said on the road.
He was
Oh,
also-
I thought you meant first test.
He's also
of the
had a-
season.
he had
I
a
thought it
little-
was I thought it was good news.
He had a leash on him the week 1.
Yeah, he's
He
on the
did.
leash now.
And we still beat him.
Yeah,
Texas,
They
that is.
cracked the whip on Texas. All right, Mike, what's your mortal to get out of relegation?
So I mean, you definitely shouldn't follow this pick because more than likely it's cursed and I suck and I'm an idiot. But
All true.
I think that Stephen Joey being gone is, not the death blow to the Syracuse offense. I think Syracuse being at home versus a terrible Duke team, a 1-2 Duke team, they still have good offensive weapons around them. And, their backup quarterback isn't good, but maybe they could just make something happen. Again, this Duke team is terrible, and I think they can beat them.
Mensa.
So,
Down.
Syracuse, plus 5.5.
And does that have anything to do with former arrested Texas player Jonte Cook being the superstar on Syracuse offense now?
No, we don't claim him.
You don't claim him.
We don't claim him.
Okay.
The
I'm
best
just saying 185 yards last week.
We don't
You
claim
guys
him.
could have
game
used
for
them.
You guys could, you
Jesus.
guys could use Jonte Cook on
they're
that
throwing to
offense.
some freaking.
No, it's not a Texas. Not a Texas. They have a bye week. We're letting them off.
Jesus.
But there you have it. There's the show. 3 picks, $250 in your pocket. Subscribe if you're not. Thanks for making it through the video. 2.5K subs. We're stoked on it. Mike, what should they do?
Scroll down a little bit, find a little bell, and then you click the little bell, and then it goes ding, and then you're subscribed, and you get all the notifications to our videos.
And that would be just swell. We'll see you on the next one.
Go Tigers.
Hook 'em.